Good morning, Raymond.
Good morning,
Malik.
Good morning.
How you all doing, Charlie?
Oh,
good,
fantastic.
Good. We are fabulous.
I'm glad to hear that you guys are fabulous, even after the 5.94% increase in electricity tariffs and the 2.2% increase in water tariffs.
Oh, may I live by grace?
That's a good
we
one.
Can't stop it.
That's another good one. How about the increment in CST, which takes effect today? There are 3 different taxes that are going to make our lives more expensive
Now
from today.
that hurts.
When you put it all together,
that hurts.
So you see, I think we should do something on the cumulative effect of on our pocket too.
because we know basically it will drive up inflation. We also know that it means that your own costs would go
Exactly.
high. And mindful of the fact that the average public service worker gets only an increment over a small period. I mean, so we wait until the end of the year, so we do 10% increment. By the time the guy would have suffered
We
several
have spent
increases
so much
on
already.
several things, and the person's income would have been depleted by the time it gets into their hands. So
That is a serious thing.
the minimum wage, you do the calculations in your head. Minimum wage.
Are you worried our single digit inflation is in danger? And you know that in this country we can beat our chest and say we have had the longest single digit inflation in the Ghana's history.
Meanwhile, no, in our pockets, anyway. Graphic business.
Let's start with the graphic business newspaper. War against fuel smuggling yields results. Nearly 1 billion Ghana cedis saved in 2018. Relief at last. 4 GAT banks share government's 800 million Ghana cedis. Top performing individuals brands rewarded at 2018 CIMG Awards.
Now, the Chronicle is reporting this morning Cape Coast Bay are less united to defeat NDC torture chamber at Koforidua police station. And you can see pictures of a junior officer torturing suspect Doji, who is screaming for help. And he has some, how do you call that thing? The whip is being out for some car tie, and he's whipping the guy into submission, and that's on the front page of the Chronicle. Joe Wise banned from campaigning, and Joe Wise is first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. DCE post, no more job for the boys, and that's the minister saying because they are going to be elected now.
The Daily Guide newspaper, 6 soldiers caged over coup plot. I left path very poor. Guess who's saying that? Former President Jerry John Rawlings. Oforiata Gajikwe rubbish Capital Bank takeover. New sex education curriculum causes stir. And Nana grants 30,000 scholarships.
Now, the Economic Times is reporting this morning banks' assets up, recording 115.2 billion, and Ghana's reserves to hit 9.2 billion. Fiscal Council member proposes solution to staggering budget overruns, and that's on the front page of the Economic Times.
The scholarship boom is the banner headline on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper. Other stories, though, we will build a gas factory. Gary factory. That's according to the gentleman I was asking you about yesterday, Chieftaincy Minister Kofi Jamasi.
Yeah.
Other stories on the front page. Mahama Brothers debt made UT Bank collapse worse. That's on page 2 of the Daily Statesman newspaper.
The Finder is reporting this morning vote yes on December 17 to pave way for the election of MMDCs, and oil marketing companies worried about rising price of LPG, and that's one other thing you ought to track. And give us 500 CD per bag. Some cocoa farmers tell Cocoa Board, and Nana Boache commends Samuel Oku Kudua for transformation at NYA. The soldier thing.
Do you mean YEA?
NYA. That's what's on the front page of the.
No, because Justin
Finder.
Kodia is CEO of the YEA,
Yeah.
and
Samuel Oku is board
chair.
chairman.
of
NYA is the where
YEA.
Asigri was removed
Yes,
from
National
recently.
Youth Authority
Yeah.
National
And Youth
what?
Employment Agency.
Agency.
Yes,
YEA.
but the Finder says NYA.
I think there's a mistake.
Ayo.
The Daily Graphic newspaper has Raymond, that controversy. Ghanaians divided over the new sexuality education. The story comes with a photograph of the Education Minister Matthew Poku Prempeh, doctor. The election of MMDC is associated. The 6 more soldiers who appeared in court. Utility tariffs going up. It's here, back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. AMA to plant 100,000 trees. And Indian High Commission supports 37 military hospitals.
Now, the New Crusading Guide is reported this morning that Ghana is moving to revive trade ties with Czech Republic. I never expressed interest in Capital Bank. This is the Finance Minister of the Republic of Ghana, and there's one that is going out there to world leaders from our foreign minister. Stop nuclear arms race, and the award of some 30,000 scholarships is also on the front page here. But Carlos Ahenko has been commissioning some water processing plant.
Deputy Trade Minister.
Yes, and that's on the front page of the new Crusading Guide today.
Oh, you still have, I'm done.
Yes, now the very last one you should be interested in is the Ghanaian Times. And it says, plot against presidency. Of course, 6 months on the front page. And the information minister rallying support for referendum on elections of MMDC is also on the front page. And one person has been shot dead as Okada's clash with police at Senchi. Now, clergy kicks against CSE in schools, but GES allays fears is one of the big stories on the front page of that particular paper, where I'm most likely to commence this day's review from.
How about we do that now?
Okay, now let me list the big names on the front page. Now, let's start from what happened yesterday morning on this particular show. Now, the Reverend Professor Paul Frimpong Manson, who is the president of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Churches, and also the general superintendent. Yes, the general superintendent of the Assemblies of God churches is actually the one who started the attack. His attack was pretty clear. CSE, we were told, meant comprehensive sexuality education. He said, no, we got it wrong. It is comprehensive satanic education, and that ought not to be missed in any way. And the man is clear in his mind that that is the import of the entire education plan in this particular case.
Elsewhere, he said comprehensive satanic engagement.
That is more so. Now, equally of the thinking and kicking against this particular CSC in schools is Bishop Daniel Silvanus Toto. He's the Anglican Bishop of Accra, the Reverend Anyani Buanu, who is the founder of the Jesus Generation Ministries, the Chief Imam Sheikh Osman Nuhu Sharabutu, the Right Reverend Dr. Paul Buafo, who is the presiding Bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana, and the Most Reverend Philip Name, who is the president of the Cali Bishops Conference. So all the major relevant, or if you want to say the big names in Ghanaian clergy, have said no to this particular comprehensive sexuality education. In fact, the reasons differ. Some of them say that what we were told when we discussed this sometime with the ministry was that there is nothing in there that connotes the kind of things that they are talking about today, and that those guidelines have always been the guidelines we've had, and that there's just been a change of name which is in tandem with some more evolved system in teaching. The elements that make reference to sex change, that a child, and you've heard the argument that people are being raped and that there's teenage pregnancy on the ascendancy. I don't know where they are getting the data from.
Okay.
On the ascendancy. So automatically, when we tell the kids how to change their sex from male to female and what the cost involved, that will automatically stop teenage pregnancy, and that rape may end in the process. As if when the girl is getting pregnant, at that point in time, a requirement for sex change is a plan in there, and to make it any better. So that is part of the things that they are kicking against. Again, they're saying this is an insidious backdoor approach to introduce one of those lesbian, gay. It's a very long term. They keep adding new elements to it.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer.
Yeah.
And then they say that the queer, no, it is to stop the rest because they wanted to do LGBTQIA, you know. Like
so every other member belongs to that particular
queer,
group.
no, is everyone else.
So the indication right from the people who have run schools more than government in this country for longer periods. In fact, we know that some of these missionaries that brought education to this country, they are the ones that taught us how our education system ought to run and run properly. And we have known that some of the best schools in this country, I wanted to reference those in Cape Coast, but since they lost the best status a long time ago, they might not be the best reference. Some of the best schools in this country have been on missionary status.
Yeah.
What they are basically saying is that you are not only running down your education, that the kind of reform we thought you would bring with the National Curriculum Review was not the one that will result in this kind of intrusion that is alien to our culture, to our people, and ought to be stopped immediately. But there's a response from the GES. The GES issued a statement signed by its PR, Cassandra Chum Ampofo, and she was very clear in her mind that there's no grand plan. Government has not conceived of any. The ministry has not discussed that, and there's no plan to use the backdoor to introduce LGBT and its related factors into this country, and that people should be rest assured that the guidelines are similar to the guidelines we've always known in our education system, and that they used to be called reproductive
health,
yes,
reproductive education.
Now we have moved it a step further to make it comprehensive. What was added to make it comprehensive is where the debate is in this particular case.
We can't comprehend it.
Yes, we cannot comprehend the comprehensive in this particular case. So that is where the debate has actually been launched into now. The people are saying there's nothing in there that should get you worried. The clergy and the republic itself, the members of this state, who the government serve and who government are supposed to represent, are saying that don't go anywhere near there.
Okay.
And that, in fact, there's also reference to the launch that happened earlier this year by the education minister. The ministry has been explaining that, please, that launch was just a generalized guideline that we launched. It was not really a launch of what is supposed to be the know it,
own it, live it
kind of thing.
No. So who said that it was just a generalized law?
No, but it said they launched a generalized document. That document is the guidelines that we're talking about.
Okay, June 2nd, 2017, graphic.com.gh. Sexuality education materials launched for the youth. A comprehensive sexuality education manual for young people titled Know It, Own It, Live It has been launched with a call on parents to intensify sex education among their children to minimize sexually transmitted diseases and teenage pregnancy in the country. A deputy minister of education, Mrs. Barbara Ashayisi, who made the call, said HIV and STD infections, and it goes on and on and on. The bottom line is that this book, the rainbow-colored book, Know It, Own It, Live It, was launched by our Deputy Minister of Education, Barbara Ashayisi, way back in 2017.
When you lifted the book, I wanted to point out that you are not on TV.
No, we are on Facebook Live.
Yes.
I want to make another quick reference, but before that, let me play this sound. This is Dr. Prince Amma speaking to us on Friday.
Dan, I am not aware of that document. I don't know where it is coming from. Is it a document, sanctioned or developed by the government of Ghana or the Ministry of Education or any institution from Ghana? And the point that I would make in respect to that is that the only document that can be acceptable at the moment, and that every other document must live within that acceptable document, is the guidelines that we have set. If any such document gets to us for us to validate and assess, definitely that document will not pass.
So Dr. Prince Amma speaking there, he's Executive Secretary for the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, saying that he does not know the Know It, Own It, Live It, the one that was launched by the Deputy Minister of Education. Now, granted, he also said in that interview that one of his officers was on the council that launched this one, the Guidelines for Comprehensive Sexuality Education. And yesterday, remember, we were in the meeting and our attention was drawn to page 19 of this, the references, where one of the documents that was referred to, where is it? Sorry, it's on page 21. Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana et al. 2017. Know It, Own It, Live It. PPAG Accra. That is the big rainbow-colored one.
Which is in our guidelines.
Yes, so the the guidelines that has the signature of Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah. It's one of the reference documents was Know It, Own It, Live It. So it brings us back to the same question. What was taken from this big book to make the small one? And which part of the big book will be taught in our schools? You see, all of this will be solved if we just know what exactly will be taught when we go to school.
That's it.
Which our education authorities have not told us yet.
Anyway. But the indication from the GES is also that the guidelines itself is not being implemented because it has not been fully approved by the ministry. And that what they did was to take people through the process as a part of the consultation and all of this. But you heard from NAGRAT, right? You've heard from the other people who are going to teach the thesis that clearly they have not been taught this. And even if they end up teaching them, they will not teach it.
And there's a raft of contradictions in there about whether or not it's being implemented. It was on Newsnight last night. We'll bring it to you later on the show. I'm coming to the coup plot.
Yes. So 6 more soldiers were in court. They were in the Kaneshi District Court yesterday, and these 6, let me just name it, all 6 of them are Lance Corporals, by the way, and they are Lance Corporals Saidu Abubakar, Albert Baba Ibrahim Sylvester Pebu, Godwin Ni Ankra, and Ali Solomon. These are the 6 Lance Corporals, and of course there's one warrant officer, 2. She is Esther. She complimented the 5 men, making them 6. That brings to 7 the total number of military officers that are being charged with various offenses in relation to the alleged coup plot which has dominated discussion the past week. Now, the 6 of them were charged with possession of explosives and arms and ammunition without lawful authority, and they appeared before the court. They will reappear again. They were remanded. Their pleas were not taken. They were remanded to reappear on October 9. We know that these 6 bring to 11 the total number of persons that have been arrested and are standing trial in respect of this matter. There's a senior military officer who was arrested earlier. He is Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli. In respect of this, I said that the 6 bring to 7 the total number of military officers brought here. Now, there was drama in court yesterday. We are told that Godwin Ni Ankra, whilst he was in the dock, he broke down and wailed uncontrollably. Now, the magistrate asked whether he was hungry or whether he was hungry or he was being maltreated by BNI officials, and he said no, it's neither of the two. He was crying because he had absolutely nothing to do with the matter which brought him to court.
Oh.
The magistrate said, well, just calm down, take your time. You will have your day in court, then you can explain what happened
crying.
For which reason. Yes,
the guy was crying and they asked him, is he hungry? That's one brilliant magistrate.
Yes, so,
Raymond, let's move on.
So the prosecution continues. So October 9, all 11 of them will appear before court.
Okay.
And then we will see.
Interesting. But the prices of LPG are going up.
Yes, and that's the main complaint of the grouping called the oil marketing companies. They are asking for immediate intervention by the people in charge from the NPA through to the Ministry of Energy. Their direct call is that LPG was introduced as cleaner fuel so that we stop using charcoal and the other things. Now, as we sit here today, it is more cost effective to use charcoal than to use LPG because of the kind of taxes we lumped onto it in the first place and the increasing costs that we keep adding to it every other second. So the LPG was basically to make poor people get better fuel. Hope you get what I'm trying to say. But over the years, we have sought to use other means to try and compel more taxes on it, making it impossible as we speak. Almost 23 to 25% of the current cost build-up of LPG gas you're taking home is purely from the basis of taxes. And if you buy 14.5, you're just paying almost 84 cedis for that. And when some 2 or 3 years ago...
You mean 8 cedis, 40%?
No, 84 cedis for the 14.5 kg cylinder.
14.5 kg cylinder.
Yes,
okay,
you're actually buying for 84 cedi. Barely 2 years ago, it was half of that particular price.
Wow.
Now, the war against fuel smuggling, we know this has been waged by the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, since 2017-2018. Now, that war has yielded dividends, according to a report, the annual report of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. And the dividend yielded is almost 1 billion.
Wow.
Yes. We know that in 2015, according to this report, 2015, 54.36 million liters of fuel was unaccounted for. 2016, that number went up to 168.48 million liters. 2017, it further went up to 994.73 million liters of fuel. This is a quantum of fuel that could not be accounted for over the period. Now, that led to a loss of 1.4 billion in tax revenues and 238 million in regulatory fees and all of that. So when you put that together, you are talking about 1.6 billion losses to the state as a result of fuel smuggling. But the NPA, together with all the other agencies, decided to fight this, and this is the result that has come about as a result of that fight.
Nice.
Savings of almost 1 billion for 2018 alone.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Raymond, I want us to slip in quickly the response for the finance minister to this Capital Bank.
So there's a joint statement from the lawyers of the finance minister and Kelly Gajepo, who is the ECG board chairman. Their claim is pretty clear that Demand Atuesian, founder of Capital Bank, currently in receivership, did make misrepresentations. He actually did exaggerations when he said that they wanted to buy his bank at the time. He said even if it was conceivable that they wanted to buy the banks, how could they have known the books of the banks just by expressing an intention to buy it in 2016? So that was not, they say it didn't happen, and the man cannot claim that they intentionally connived to destroy the bank because they wanted to take it over.
Okay.
And that is what they are insisting never happened in the first place. So
Okay.
he should desist from making similar
One
comments.
man who is insisting that he's never corrupt is former President Jerry Rawlings, and that it's because he's not corrupt that he left office after 19 years a poor man.
Oh,
Both
really?
He and his wife.
So he left
office
very poor.
They didn't even have a foreign bank account. The only time he had a foreign bank account when the late Kofi Annan contacted him about some proposals of some UN assignment. That was when he opened a foreign bank account.
Rollins is poor.
Yes,
He
it's
left
poor.
poor.
Okay, yeah, that's different from his poor.
The $5 million,
No,
okay,
look,
$2
the man
million
lives
dollars.
at
The
East
$2
Legon.
million
Let's
he
not-
received
let's
from
be
Abacha.
serious.
He
The
said
man
when he
lives at
left
East
office, he
Legon.
didn't have
How many
$1.
poor people live at East Legon? No, I mean, okay, let's move on. The online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest. Goil Good Energy. Goil, your trusted indigenous and #1 oil marketing company, says, Ayiko to our numerous customers, your loyalty to the Goil brand has been rewarded again. We are now CIMG Hall of Fame Petroleum Company of the Year. After 3 consecutive years of success, we dedicate this award to you, our esteemed customers whose loyalty to the Goil brand we cherish. Always visit any of our 380 plus service stations for quality fuel, lubricants, and unmatched customer service. Buy Goil, Go Ghana, Goil Good Energy, Goil Yenara Yedia. Now travel light, shop light, pay light, and live light with Zenith Bank's array of electronic banking products. Sign up today for Zenith Bank's electronic banking solutions and enjoy the convenience of banking on the go. Go light with Zenith Bank. It's faster and smarter. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Now, an ex-soldier and former minister in the Kufuor administration, Captain Nkrabia Efadate, speaking to Evans Mensa last night on PM Express, said, coup d'etat is not possible in Ghana. You want to get those details on myjournal9.com. NDA, as the Northern Development Authority, says only 1.2 million Ghana cedis of 33.6 million Ghana cedi SADA tricycles have been accounted for. It on starfm.com. Citynewsroom.com says Angel Carbonu calls for further engagement on sexuality education. The National Association of Graduate Teachers President Angel Carbonu speaking there. The BBC.com has Moroccan journalist jailed on abortion charges. That's all for the online review. We'll be right back.